For years, the financial system has teetered on the edge of a complete and total overhaul, transformation from debt spirals, digital currency revolutions, etc. Change is no longer coming, it's actually here. But beneath the algorithms, market trends, and geopolitical shifts lies a deeper layer, the prophetic undercurrent. In prayer, vision, and discernment, many have sensed that XRP is not just another crypto asset. It may very well be a chosen instrument for God's end times wealth transfer. Now, I've been analyzing several prophetic words that I've given, and this is what I'm seeing and discerning may be about to happen sometime in the near future that could cause XRP to shoot up over $100. So stick with me. Righteous. This divine redistribution of wealth is not metaphorical. It's actually structural. It's kingdom structure. Throughout history, God has used individuals like Joseph to position resources for his people during times of crisis. In modern times, XRP appears to carry the same DNA of such a tool. Now, in one vision, I saw wealthy investors receiving secret knowledge, not worldly secrets, but divinely permitted insight, that something was about to shift in XRP, and they began to buy aggressively, sensing what was coming. This wasn't insider trading. It was actionable prophetic intelligence. They were positioning themselves for a revaluation, one that would align with God's justice, but not market logic. Because let's be real, these prophecies don't make a lot of sense to the natural mind. Now, XRP's technological function aligns with this prophetic role. It's built as a bridge currency, and I've seen that in visions also, where it was a bridge and it would open up when all the lawsuits ended against it. Not just between banks, but between nations, ideologies, and financial paradigms. As the world accelerates towards the adoption of central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, the need for a neutral, decentralized, high-speed asset will surge, and XRP may be uniquely poised to interconnect economies during a coming financial reset, especially when fiat currencies begin to buckle under unsustainable debt. And we're not super far away from that. Now, you may recall that prophetically, I have warned that CBDCs will serve as a backdoor for financial enslavement, programmable money with expiration dates and surveillance, etc. But in that dark system, XRP could become a light in the darkness, or a type of Goshen where people can escape that kind of slavery, which is, I think, is kind of ironic because so Kevin Zadai in his courses teaches that even though the Egyptians were in Goshen, Goshen was the best land. The Egyptian system wants people to live in a slave mentality, but the real Goshen system is a positive entrepreneur system. Goshen in the Bible is said that it was the best land. It was the choice land. So all the people of Israel had the best land in Egypt. And it's no wonder that they would say, oh, that was the land of milk and honey, because it was a great place for them to have. So this could be a parallel from a value that remains interoperable but not controllable by a single government. And in that role, $100 XRP is actually not far-fetched. It becomes necessary. One of the clearest prophetic parallels in XRP's story is its long legal battle with the SEC. It's been persecuted, misunderstood, delayed, and mocked, yet it has endured. Like Joseph in prison, XRP's confinement may be the very thing preparing it for a sudden elevation. Joseph's time spent in prison helped humble him, helped change his heart towards his family and stuff, because when he saw his brothers, he was blessed. He cried. He was so glad to see them. He wanted to test them and see if their hearts had changed or if they were still wicked and evil. And then he revealed himself to them and gave them everything that was at his disposal. That's what we do. We're Christian. When our brothers come to us in their time of need, we as Christians are supposed to be there to help them, to bless them. Now, the prophetic blueprint of vindication through injustice echoes through this case of the SEC versus Ripple. A victorious end would not only mark a legal turning point, it would serve as a prophetic signal. Justice is being released into the financial realm. The SEC, I've already seen this before, but I've also saw it while I was typing this up, is going to rescind its appeal. And when justice breaks out, the dam of resistance is going to burst, ushering in institutional adoption and massive new liquidity. This, combined with XRP's limited supply, could easily drive the price well past $100 in a rather short window. Now, the prophetic realm often operates outside of linear logic. I saw in a vision that XRP would shatter records in an unprecedented and unexpected way, and it will not rise slowly through predictable cycles, but rather in a cataclysmic leap, triggered by global instability and legal clarity and supernatural orchestration. And this is why I said I don't want to see XRP dip down to 162 or Bitcoin go down to 104,000, because the Lord had showed me that it was due to instability in Europe between Russia and Ukraine, and that would be an escalation of war, more people dying, etc. So we've been praying against that. We don't want to see something trigger the economy that causes everything to crash so that XRP can go up and Bitcoin or XRP can go down and Bitcoin can go down and people can make more money, etc. We don't want to see that. I know there's people investing who are probably thinking, yes, I actually do want to see that so I can make money. But really, you have to ask yourself this, and this has been a heart test for a lot of people. Is people dying in war worth making $1 for you? Because if it is, your whole value of human life is completely skewed. You know, Isaiah 60:22 says, the least of you will become 1,000, the smallest a mighty nation. I am the Lord. In its time, I will do this swiftly. When it happens, it will not make sense to the analyst, but to the prophetic community, and it will be confirmation of what has long been discerned in the spirit. Now, there's also more prophetic weight to the number 100 itself. In biblical symbolism, 10 represents divine order, testing, government, and judgment. So if you take 10 times 10, you have a double portion of divine government and completeness, which equals 100. Now, if XRP is to function as a financial bridge between systems, helping governments exchange without default, then $100 a coin becomes more than a price target. It becomes a symbol of God establishing a new framework through an unexpected instrument. Now, finally, and then we'll get into the end time scenario of this, XRP may be prophetically positioned as a Davidcoin, small and agile, underestimated yet anointed to slay giants that are named Bitcoin instead of Goliath. In a world dominated by monetary Goliaths like the US dollar, the IMF, and emerging CBDCs, XRP's purpose may not be to dominate, but to deliver. And from what I've been hearing in the spirit, I believe that XRP is going to take off like a rocket. However, I do fear that at some point it may be due to a global shaking that's coming. We started to see the precursor to this in 2021 through 2024. The world was hurting, America was financially falling apart, and we were downtrending in every area. However, at this time, XRP was stifled in court. Its ability to thrive and be the bridge token that it was designed to be was completely hindered. It's almost like it was completely shut down at this point. And this is one of the reasons that we were able to discern that total financial collapse in the world wasn't going to happen yet. It wasn't planned for that time by the world or by God, because there wasn't a bridge coin asset readily available to allow for international exchange like CBDCs. And you know they would have wanted that so that they could make the money, so they can control the currency, etc. Now, I do fear that inevitably this coin will be a setup for global currency that precedes the mark of the beast, but it's a while from when there's a global currency to when the mark of the beast is implemented. Everything does become global. The whole world becomes one global government under one king before the beast implements the mark of the beast, and actually well before he even comes onto the scene, before the Antichrist even comes onto the scene, it's one global economy before that, because there's a king who rises up, then there's 2 kings, then there's 4 kings, then there's 10 kings, then there's 1 king again. But they all have one world. And see, this is the thing about the Antichrist and the mark of the beast that you have to understand. He doesn't just implement it all at once. Yes, it's all building up to that, but it's not just going to happen all at once, because that would be too predictable and people would catch on. So like I said, I do believe that inevitably XRP will end up being part of the beast system, but I believe all money will become part of the beast system. And we can't just stop using money. So as long as the beast system's not implemented, then you don't have to worry about that right now. The mark isn't implemented. The mark is not money. The mark is actually genetic alteration, which you can read in my book, The Mark of the Beast from Creation to Revelation. If you can't afford it, email us, firesidegrace@yahoo.com. I will send you a copy for free. We love you guys. Also, remember to like and subscribe and share with your friends and family. Okay. Now let's get into this prophetic portion here. We're going to go to Revelation 6, verses 5 through 6. When he opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, "Come." And I looked, and behold, a black horse, and its rider had a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard what seemed to be a voice in the midst of the four living creatures saying, "A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine." So what does this mean? A black horse represents economic judgment, famine, and market control because there's scales of justice. They used to use scales to measure out exact proportions and weights of things. That's how they used to pay for things. They would measure in the weight of gold or the weight of silver or the weight of copper, etc., for their food and resources, etc. Now, a denarius back then was a full day's wage in biblical times, and a quart of wheat and barley was just enough food to feed one person for a day. So if you had a family, let's say a family of 4 of us, it would take us about a month's worth of money to be able to pay for food. And this is part of why Brandy and I here at Fireside Grace have started gardening. We have our livestock. We have our goats and cows. We have land. We have chickens so we can get eggs, because you have to have some sort of backup economy, some sort of backup system that's going to allow you to be able to take care of your family. So the end result of this is that you will have to work all day just to take care of yourself. And that's just to feed your family, not to pay your bills. Think about that. That's the type of inflation we have to see for XRP to hit 103. And it's biblical. It will happen one day. And hopefully later, not sooner. So why this mirrors hyperinflation, okay? In hyperinflation, the value of currency collapses so badly that you need a full day's wages for a loaf of bread. Essentials skyrocket in price, while luxuries like oil and wine may remain available to the elites only, and it creates a financial slavery, instability, and famine-like conditions. That's not God's plan for the world. And yet he's warning us, hey, this is going to happen. Like this coin is either going to be around for a long time, or in a short period of time, we're going to see this stuff happen. And that makes me feel like we need to pray. We need to take this as a warning and not just look at it as oh, money, 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 money. Think about it. For it to reach $103, there has to be $10 trillion approximately pumped into XRP. That is a substantial amount of money, $10 trillion. Now, this passage from Revelation is often linked to the beginning stages of global judgment, potentially tied to manipulated markets, digital currencies, or authoritarian economic control, all of which echo today's concerns about CBDCs, food inflation, and financial collapse that the prophetic community has been warning y'all about for a long time. And we pray this stuff away. In an event like this, if this did happen, hyperinflation would destroy confidence in national currencies. XRP is not tied to any government yet. It's designed to move value instantly across the borders, converting a worthless or volatile local currency into stable digital liquidity. Nations experiencing collapse could settle trade and debts in XRP by bypassing inflation-ravaged fiats. XRP has a limited supply of 100 billion coins, making it scarcity-based. So unlike fiat, which can be printed endlessly, there's a cap on XRP. It's deflationary in nature. Some XRP is actually burned with every transaction, which reduces the amount of supply of XRP that's circulating. In prophetic terms, that means that the value is preserved by divine design, not human inflation. Now, this is my own prophetic opinion, and all of this makes me ask the question, why would they create a coin like XRP that's clearly designed to thrive in hyperinflation? Either they're concerned that there could be worldwide hyperinflation and they're preparing, or they're planning worldwide hyperinflation. They're planning it. And so they've created utilities to benefit themselves. And I really do believe that it's both. I think some people have good intentions and some people have very bad intentions. The enemy of God knows what's going to happen and has been planning this for literally millennia. It's written in the Bible, which means it's a fact. It will happen. It is just a matter of time. My question to you is, will you be prepared for what comes next? So subscribe and comment, I'm prepared, and check out the description for links to donate to our ministry. I love you guys. Be blessed, and I hope that this has been a huge blessing to you and a wake-up call to pray and intercede for this nation and for the world.